the Eastern Conference contenders, teams like Milwaukee, Miami, specifically those two teams, it really wasn't, maybe the best thing. Even Boston now, I guess you could maybe say, because I was thinking, both of those teams to a certain extent were wounded. And now this trade, Simmons is now reanimated and active. Yep. And Harden had pretty much shut down, and now he's going to be going. And so I was like, this was two teams that were sort of limping along outside the top 5 in the standings that now is a real threat. Shouldn't this be like really bad news to all these contenders? Even, throw in Cleveland in there. And
don't forget about Chicago.
Chicago, of course. I think all those teams would be like,
Miami is still tied with the Bulls for first in the East.
Right, for right now. And the answer that I got when I was talking to a couple executives was maybe not. And that's because there was a fear about Brooklyn. If Brooklyn could ever have gotten those 3 guys healthy and able to play all the games,
healthy and available,
their top end was so high that teams thought, I don't think we could beat them. I mean, certainly if you're Milwaukee, Bontemps is right. Milwaukee has played strong basketball when they've needed to do it, and strong basketball when they've been whole. But they still almost lost to the Nets last year, and that was without Kyrie and a limping Harden. You have all 3 of those together. It's a war of a series. And so now that that's been removed, now that we know that there's not going to be that 3-headed monster, that sort of top end isn't there, even if you have to deal with an improved Sixer team, I think that they're okay with that situation. And so in a certain sense, teams like Miami and Milwaukee and Chicago may feel like they've got a better chance because they don't have to worry about that sort of coming together at the end, because we don't know what the vaccine mandate rules are going to be.
Well, and also, like, how often do you see a star traded mid-season play a major role on a championship team? It's this ain't fantasy basketball. You've got to develop chemistry. You've got to figure things out. Clyde Drexler, was that the last like superstar level?
Him and Rasheed Wallace, I would say, are the two.
So it's been a while, and I think like if it's easier to picture the fit for Ben Simmons in Brooklyn, but there's so many questions. That the health of KD obviously is a huge one. Kyrie at this point, we just have to assume he's going to be a as Barkley said, half man, half a season type of guy, half man, half a series. And then, like Simmons hasn't played all year. Also, like, is he going to embrace being kind of the number 3 guy, the connector, and more so than a star? And then I've got 1,000 questions about the fit with Harden in Philly. The Harden and Embiid fit. How does this guy who wants to iso all the time versus a guy who wants to dominate from the post, how does that mesh together? Not to mention, like, frankly, there's like this assumption they're getting MVP caliber James Harden. Is motivation the only reason he wasn't that dude all year in Brooklyn, or is the fact that lifestyle and miles and all those kind of things have caught up to him?
Haven't you heard he's got a bad hamstring? So think about it like this. Think of I think if you could say the 5 top teams in the East: Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Miami, Brooklyn, Chicago. Let's just say that those are 5 contenders with all due respect to Boston. They're right there. Cleveland probably is knocking on the door. But those 5 teams, one of them ain't getting out of the first round. Okay, only 4 teams can make it out of the first round.
The Celtics say maybe 2 of them ain't getting out of the first round.
Maybe you're right. So, can you imagine?
Well, Brooklyn's almost certainly playing one of them in the first round.
Right.
So there's automatically you're going to knock one of those teams out just by that.
Right.
Well, you're disrespecting the Raptors, assuming that the Raptors and the Hawks and Hornets by assuming Brooklyn's getting out of the play.
My point is they're in the play-in, so they're either not going to make the playoffs because they'll be missed the playoffs in the play-in, or they're going to be in the play-in and play one of the top 2 seeds, which is almost certainly going to be 2 of those teams that we're talking about.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.